all is well with everybody. Welcome in, welcome in. Happy Monday. If you are new here and you do not know who I am, hi, my name is Kendra. I'm a plant-based lifestyle strategist. I'm here to support you in understanding exactly what's happening with women's health and what's going on with women's hormones and making the connection between the habits that we have and how they're impacting our health. And either it's a negative outcome or a positive outcome, and how we can make ourselves, or rather not make ourselves, but how we can make the connections for ourselves to help us be able to get back to a healthy space that is not chaotic, but actually supports us from the inside out, using cycle syncing methods as well as using the methods of having a strategy from a plant-based point of view. So if you are new here and you do not know who I am, welcome in. I do post all of my past lives, my past lives on YouTube. So if you have not checked it out, go check out my YouTube. It is linked in my bio for you over here on TikTok. And if you are watching on YouTube afterwards of this replay, I hope you're doing well. If you do drop any questions that you have in the comments, I do reply. I am sending out my email because I forgot to do that really quickly. So if you guys have any questions, you can go ahead and start dropping them down. And if not, just give me 1 second and I will get started with the topic for today. And we're going to be talking about the burnout and the leakage and understanding how to make those connections between how it is impacting you and how it's your burnout and your leakage is starting with food. I know we talk about this quite often because it really does go deeper. And I feel like as we keep, discussing the topic, we get more questions, we get deeper into other connections. And so I'm here to just help and support you. Okay, hold on. So I can send this really quickly. All right. Making sure I spell everything correctly, because I will start typing really quickly and then I won't spell it correctly. All right, I'm sending out my email for my email list now so I don't forget. But like I said, I hope that all is well with you. So today's topic is going to be learning about that structure and going from the chaotic state that currently a lot of women are dealing with, going to calm, releasing hustle energy, and understanding how this is wrecking your hormones, how it's impacting your hormones. Because there are too many women out here that are thinking that control is the thing that you have to do. You have to control your cravings. You have to control yourself on your workout. You have to control. But a lot of you don't understand that there is a structure behind establishing control. There is discipline that has to be had with structure. You cannot have any type of a controlled experiment without structure. If you think about the scientific method, for example, because you have your observation, you do your study, and you get results. But in order for you to have the study and the results to be accurate, you have to have some type of structure within the discipline of your scientific study. Because if there's not, you can have variables that are not accounted for. You can have, let's say you have a control versus somebody who is on the side of the experimental, if that makes sense, if you did have done anything with science, because I used to love science when I was in school. Understanding that they have placebos versus the people who are actually getting the test subjects or whatever else. So let's say that you have this pill that is a placebo. This means just a water pill. And then you have another person who has the sugar pill. And you're seeing how the sugar impacts the blood sugar. But both of them think that they're both on the sugar pill. So one of them might get the fake, like, oh, I'm getting energetic, I'm having a sugar rush, thinking that they are on the sugar pill. This is a controlled, structured environment because they both believe that they are on the sugar pill, correct? So if you didn't have that control and that structure, and you told one of them, you're on the sugar, you're on the water, you're not going to have any structure in the stability of your results, because they're both going to be sitting there thinking about, okay, well, this is not going to work. This is not going to happen. I'm on the water, so you don't have to worry about what my blood sugar is like. They're not going to have the same reaction that they would of thinking that they're on the sugar pill. So if you have a room full of sugar and you're trying to keep their blood sugar controlled, they're not going to eat the sugar if they both think they're on the sugar pill. If one of them is on the water and the other one's on the sugar, then they know that they're not eating a whole bunch of sugar, if that makes sense. I know that's a wild thing to think about, but bringing and reining it back into the discipline, the structure, that organization, because you can control more when you have structure. You cannot control when you have no structure. When everything is just out of your control when it comes to your health, you think that, oh, I'm just a woman. I'm just going through my cycle. I'm tired. Work is hard. My children's hard. Family and etc. And then you are going to put all of these external factors on controlling what your results look like. Versus somebody who realizes, yes, I'm tired. I have kids. I have work. But I have a structured plan to say at 6:30 every single day, I'm going to get up and I'm going to do jump rope for 10 minutes. I'm going to walk for 20 minutes. I'm going to do some type of ab workout and then some type of arm workout because these are my goals. You set a plan up for that. I'm going to eat correctly and I'm not going to eat a bunch of junk while I'm at work. So what I'm going to do is I'm either going to make sure that I have places I can rely on to go grab food that are healthy, or I'm going to pack a lunch because not only can I save money this way, but I also can make sure that I stay on the plan of me eating and consuming foods that help build my body up. But when you sit here and you think there's nothing working and that this is just a part of being a woman and you're going to be disconnected from your body, then you are going to be feeling like your body is betraying you. And you're going to receive the results of what betrayal feels like. So you're going to be fatigued. You're going to be having all the energy crashes, the cravings. You're going to be having to depend on coffee to get through the day. And you're thinking that waking up tired is normal. And these things are common in women. The cravings is common, but it's not normal for you to feel out of body, to feel like you have no control over yourself, to sit here and think that you're doing everything right, but this is just a part of being a woman. Thank you for the follows and the likes, guys. I really appreciate it. You're asking the questions of why do you feel so off? Why do you feel like, oh, I just ripped my earring out. Why do you feel like you keep burning out even though you get enough energy? How come you wake up with no energy? How come you eat healthy, but no matter how healthy you eat, you can never sustain a healthy weight? The reason why, because I once was one of those girlies, the reason why is because food is not being used as medicine. When you start to understand how food impacts the body and how hustle energy, hustle culture itself is wreaking havoc on your hormones, because hustle means you ignore yourself. Hustle means you focus on getting the bag. Hustle culture tells you that if you are feeling tired today, you just have to work through it, because that's not how you get to the bag. That's not how you get the results that you're looking for. You're going to the gym knowing that you're tired and you're not going to want to do it, and you're working out hard and then wondering why tomorrow you don't go to the gym and it's been 3 days and it's been 4. The reason behind y'all doing this hustle culture and it's impacting you negatively is because you don't realize not only should you be syncing with your cycle so you know when your body is tired and it needs rest, and you also are not understanding that when you're lacking nutrients, you're going to have that lack of motivation feel that a lot of women deal with. A lot of women are sitting back saying they don't have motivation, that they're lacking this motivation because of X, Y, and Z. They're tired, they're stressed out, and etc. But you're not realizing if you had all of the nutrients that you needed to build your body up throughout the day, you would be more likely to be okay with going to the gym if you do it in the afternoon, or wake up and go because you actually have energy when you woke up this morning, instead of sitting there saying, well, I did go to sleep and I had 8 hours of sleep, but I'm still tired and I can't figure out why. Maybe I'm just stressed out and I don't need to go to the gym today. Because as somebody who is not a gym girly, I understand the impact of me getting up and getting moving. And it's because my body needs nutrients. It needs flow. And when you don't have enough nutrients, you don't have flow. When you're not getting up and getting moving, you don't have flow. And what happens when you don't have flow? You start to develop blocks. These blocks are going to impact your health in a negative way, and you're leading yourself down a path of having chronic illnesses or diseases. And as time goes on and you keep following hustle culture, your energy, your hormones, all of them are going to be depleted and in chaos. And this is leading you down a path of having this out-of-body experience that women are dealing with. When you think about how many years as somebody who was hormonally imbalanced since before I even started my actual menstruation, women are dealing with hormonal imbalances from a very, very young age, and they're still currently dealing with them in their adult age. I knew that I didn't want that for myself. I didn't want painful menstrual cycles. I didn't want irregular cycles. I didn't want the heavy cycles. I didn't want to have all this PMS and anxiety and depression. And I was like, why am I dealing with this if there are other women who aren't? So I started to do research into it and understood how the body is impacted with the chaotic energy of hustle culture, and started to realize that they don't teach us from a space of taking care of your body and being healthy from a woman, but they teach us from a space of knowing how man's body operates and applying it to us. Because women cannot operate like men, because that go, go, go triggers a stress response inside the body. That stress response is going to have you in a high cortisol state. And that high cortisol state is coming from your adrenal glands pumping out cortisol nonstop, saying, I'm not getting what I need and I cannot trust you. And so instead of me being able to reset and to release every single day, I'm having to play catch up with your liver, with your pancreas, with your kidneys, with your gut, with your brain, trying to maintain your life so that you don't unalive. And so as you do this for years, you do realize that cortisol spikes your blood sugar. Your blood sugar dysregulation is going to cause you to have insulin resistance. Going down a path of having insulin resistance for years is how you develop diabetes. When you look at how many women have diabetes and you see how many women before they even hit the age of that late stage of adulthood, 50s and older, they're developing diabetes, and diabetes causes you to have a lack of hydration and absorption of vitamin C. They all impact each other. And do you understand, as a woman who was iron deficient before, and a lot of women are iron deficient because we believe menstruation is going to cause iron deficiency by its natural basis. When you are having an issue with iron absorption, more likely than not is because you're not absorbing enough vitamin C as well. So think about all the women who are diabetic, who are sitting here dealing with the issue of being able to absorb vitamin C, because that is a major problem with people who have diabetes, is absorption of oxygen and hydration, and vitamin C is going to be impacted, and how they're being impacted with iron deficiencies. And even going a little bit deeper on the iron deficiency scale. So you're dealing with that iron deficiency right now, and you're sitting here realizing where you're iron deficient. But you're not taught when you get diagnosed with anemia or you have iron deficiency, so they're telling you take an iron supplement, that after you have a long-term iron deficiency, this is going to lead you to have chronic iron deficiencies. And chronic iron deficiency is a sign that you are leading yourself down a path of eventually developing some type of organ failure, whether it's your heart, your lungs, or whatever else. But specifically, they have seen it attack more on the heart and the lungs. Do you see how it's a full connection of your body breaking itself down just by not getting enough nutrients, just by not getting what you need with food every single day? It is deeper than just saying, well, I eat a couple fruits and a couple vegetables, that should be enough, because as long as I stay healthy and I'm in the gym, right? Because when you're not getting the nutrients that you need from food, you are still going to develop chronic illnesses or diseases, regardless of how healthy you are in the gym. Because you need oxygen and hydration on a cellular level. And those two things don't come from you just sitting here breathing in and drinking water. It comes from fruits. It comes from vegetables, because they produce a natural oxygen and hydration that comes from the earth, that is deeper than you just sitting here and drinking your water and breathing in from your lungs. Speaking of that, let me drink a little bit of my water. Because when you aren't on the space of using food as your medicine, and you have this high cortisol state, this dysregulation with your blood sugar, you are leading yourself down a complete path of inflammation. This inflammation is going to impact you negatively and throw off your entire system. So now you're having estrogen and progesterone dominance, because that's what happens to women who are not taking care of their body by using food as their medicine and syncing with their cycle. You start to have estrogen dominance. You start to have progesterone dominance. And this is leading you down a path of chasing your health. So you know what you do when you start having these issues and you see these symptoms? Diet culture. So now you're following diet culture, and you're sitting here on survival mode following diet culture, which is calorie counting and restricting and being hungry. And so then now you're in this space of being hungry all the time. And you're talking about, well, at least I'm losing weight, so I should be fine. I'm going to do this for a month or two. And then boom, you get off the diet, you go back to your old lifestyle. And what happens? You gain that weight back. You even gain more back, You don't feel good anymore. And then on top of that, a lot of people feel worse. They start to get more symptoms than when they first went on the diet. And the reason why is because diet culture does not support you. All it does is put your body in a distressed state because your body knows you're going to flip back. And it's already in a high cortisol state. Cortisol is a stress hormone. And so now your body is already going, well, I'm stressed out from this because you don't eat enough. You don't get enough nutrients. And now on top of that, you're throwing on a diet that is telling you to be up under 2,000 calories a day when you don't give me enough nutrients as it is. You're following Jenny Craig and Weight Watchers that still have foods full of additives. And your body is like, I don't know what to do. So instead, it's trying to protect you by giving you all of these symptoms of saying, we're going to hold on to this weight. We're going to be fatigued. We're going to be sitting here in an anxiety state. We're going to have panic attacks. We're going to be depressed because you're not eating what I need. You're eating what you think is going to help, but you're not eating what it needs. Because diet culture has taught you from a space of doing this up and down yo-yoing. And that yo-yoing is never sustainable. You can never keep your health in a level baseline when you're yo-yoing up and down with your habits. You have to have structure. This structure is how you have balance. And when you are building on a foundation that is lopsided and rocky, you're never going to be able to sustain the structure. So how do you sustain this so that you feel like, or you know that your body is no longer fighting you and you stop thriving in survival mode or stop living in survival mode and start thriving in a space that is balanced and has structure and you have a plan that develops this? You make this plan through understanding that, first of all, your health journey is not going to be linear, nor is it going to be perfect. You do not have, like, I have a program, I have one-on-one sessions and etc. I don't have a set basis of, okay, this is exactly what you're going to do. This is how you do it. And this is the way that you do it. AM, you start here, here, here. Everybody's plan, everybody's day looks different. So if you start your day at 6 a.m., we start your day from 6 a.m. You start your day at 9. You're a stay-at-home mom. Whatever time, day, and activities that incorporate in between, that's how you build your own strategic plan that fits you. But the basis is getting the mental right first. Second, getting the physical right. So what you eat, how you move, and then understanding everything else leads to the external changes. Because when you are sitting back and you're using food as your medicine, you're using non-toxic products, and you're also supporting yourself with natural medicine if you even need it, you'll see the difference in how the body changes and how it incorporates or how it interacts with itself, and how you are given a feeling of connection versus that disconnect. But when you don't know what that connection feels like, when all you feel is fatigue, bloating, painful menstrual cycles, PMSing every single month, you don't know how the body operates when it's balanced and when it's healthy. So you have no foundation to stand on. You have to know what it feels like and have that foundation. And if you are looking for that support with your body, your hormones, your energy, and you need them to all be synced together, and you know this and you recognize this, and you were looking for a change, and you know healing happens when you start to create rhythm, my Balanced Body program is going to help you be able to learn how to sync with your cycle as a woman. Balance those hormones. Use food as your medicine. Get in the correct mental space so that you can sustain this lifestyle, make non-toxic products, and make natural medicine. Because it's all possible. You just have to get in long-term alignment, not some type of quick, fast Band-Aid solution that is a supplement or a surgery or some type of tincture or whatever else prescription that they try to prescribe you for having low iron, hormonal imbalances, painful menstrual cycles, what Ozempic, all the different things that they're promoting for women and men and everybody else to take. But starting to understand that there is an agenda against your health. And in order for you to improve your health, and in order for you to get rid of those cravings, to feel lighter, to feel stabilized, you have to start with the physical, the emotional, and the mental. And they all three have to be tackled. And you have to understand how they all connect together so that you bring calm back to the body. So you have peace within the body. And you can sustain that peace with structure. Stability is the answer that you are looking for, not control. Stability is what you were looking for to calm the chaotic state that you were in. But when you were sitting here believing in hustle culture and diet culture, you're never going to have any sustainable energy. You're not going to have any stability. And you're going to constantly be playing a game of catch up that's never going to work. Playing cat and mouse. And I talked about this before, and I could not remember the scripture. And funny enough, I read it yesterday. And yesterday, it was not the exact scripture that I'm looking for, that I'm trying to remember to find. But it's funny because it's referenced multiple times, and I couldn't find the other ones either until yesterday. And how I talked about, and I told y'all that it was like Romans or Ephesians, and I can't figure out which chapter it's in. But then I stumbled upon it yesterday in Judges, in Judges 2, chapter 2. It talks about how the Most High in that time gave them away to the enemy because they chose the path of the enemy, and he gave them to them. And he let them be at it, let them have it. And when you see in that verse that I'm looking for, that I'm trying to find, because I can't find my little like scripture book that I write in right now, but I'm looking for it. I don't know where I put it. It talks about how when you are given away to the enemy, what you get in the repercussions of you being given away to the enemy because you chose him and not the Most High. You choose the enemy, you get illness and disease, and you waste away. But when you're choosing the Most High and his wishes and his ways, then you are given the blessings of his will. So when you look at society right now, full of disease, full of illness, people wasting away earlier and earlier, or people just sitting here making it by managing a disease for the rest of their life, thinking that you have to take a prescription for insulin, diabetes, high blood pressure, and etc. because this is what you've done to yourself. This is what part of getting old looks like. That is a sign that you are following the enemy's way. That is a sign from the Most High to let you know this is not the path that you need to be going down. Because if you're developing diseases and illnesses, you are choosing the path of the enemy. It's literally in scripture. We love to quote all the little cute scripture about blessings and getting different things and grace, having the fruits of the Spirit. But isn't a fruit of the Spirit is you sitting here and not only love, joy, peace, patience, kindness. Like, do you have peace, patience, and kindness within yourself when you're trying to eat better? Do you have kindness towards yourself and your health and your body when you're sitting here eating whatever and not knowing what's in the ingredients? Are you having trust within yourself to understand that you can change your lifestyle? Do you have trust in the Most High to know that he can lead you down a path that is the correct path? Because a lot of you can't even trust yourself. You can't trust yourself to eat right. You can't trust yourself to work out. You can't trust yourself to make a discerning thought. In order for you to build that foundation that is sustainable, you have to build back that mental trust with yourself, and you need to be talking to the Most High about what path starts you down the health journey that is going to be sustainable to keep you away from the enemy. Because we are in a time and a place in 2025 going into 2026 where it's getting brutal. It's been pretty brutal already, but it's going to get worse. Not only are these hospitals and these doctors and these nurses are closing, losing their jobs and etc., but they're going to stop covering you with the insurance. They're not going to cover your fibroid surgery. They're not going to cover your birth control anymore if they already haven't stopped. So you have to start looking into what is going to help you be able to live a sustainable, healthy life versus managing it. Because right now in the current space that you're in, you're maintaining it just like you maintain your car. You're maintaining an illness just like you maintain your car to keep it alive. You don't want to maintain an illness to keep it alive. You want to maintain your car. So why do you keep taking a prescription that is maintaining it instead of figuring out how to regulate your body and fix the issue? I never tell anybody, do not go to the doctor, do not get a diagnosis. But my thing is, when you go to the doctor, why is that the end all be all? Now you have high blood pressure, and forever in your life, you have to take a high blood pressure medication. Knowing that you can break a bone and it heals in the body. Knowing that people take a prescription, they change their lifestyle and they get off of it. And yet you sit back and you think that you're different and your body does not work that way. We have to stop telling ourselves the lie of this is just a part of getting old, because it's not. Or that it runs in your family, because it doesn't. Unless you have a genetic gene mutation within your genetic code, it is not running your family. The only thing that is running in your family is the terrible habits that all the women, all the men, and generations before you have passed down when it comes to eating and products that you use, and you continuously do it. And that's the reason why all the women in your family develop breast cancer, or have fibroids, or have cysts, or some type of pancreatic cancer, or something like that. You have to get your brain around the fact that it does not run in your family. It's the fact that you have the same habits that all the other women that you have towards food, snacks, products, and etc. When you change your habits and you change the way that you consume things, you start to see the difference in your health. Cleaner and now my BP is normal. It seems harder when you think about it, and it sounds simple because it is simple. When you're thinking about all the changes that you have to make for you to be healthier, diet culture teaches you from a space that you have to be perfect. If you eat this wrong thing, your diet is out the window. You can't do this anymore. Media showed you that as well. Your healthy breakfast is you eating a whole bunch of eggs, bacon, and all this other fatty foods full of meat and etc. and a little bit of fruits. Knowing that y'all have to eat from the earth in order for you to get the health that you were looking for, because there's a reason why the earth produces vegetation. There's a reason why the earth produces seeded fruits, and all throughout scripture it talks about consuming the seeded fruit of your labor, the seeded fruits of the earth. There is a connection and a reason why these things are repeated. If we know anything about repetition in life, the ABCs, you chanting something for your school mascot or your teams and etc. Repetition sticks in the brain for a reason. So why do you think the Bible repeats the same aspect on health and disease over and over again, and yet people don't hear it? The repetition is there for a reason. Just like we know the Bible speaks in riddles, and we know that scripture is for you to decipher and discern. So how are you sitting back and deciphering and discerning the scripture if you can't see the repetition of it literally telling you you need the seeded fruits? You need to stop choosing the enemy's way so that way you don't have illness and disease and waste away. It's deeper than just the plagues of locusts and all the things that you read in the scripture. Because you have chronic illnesses and diseases running throughout your family, and yet you don't see how it's impacted by the foods that you eat. Thank you for the follows. I really appreciate it. So if you are looking for a space to shift all of this and to gain the nutrients that you need and to really understand how the body is impacted with foods, if you are looking for support and structure and getting that foundation that you are needing and having one-on-one support, if you're looking to work with me, I do have one-on-one sessions as well as I do have my program. My program is 6 weeks, and that 6-week program is going to walk you through step by step how I have been plant-based for 5 years and how you are going to get to the space of making non-toxic products, plant-based meals, getting in that mental capacity that is a healthy one, and also making your own natural medicine. Having you to be able to detoxify by the end of that program, and for you to know exactly what the body's supposed to feel like as a woman when you cycle sync. Understanding how important and impactful that is. So if you guys have any questions for me, let me know what questions you guys have. Thank you for the likes. I really appreciate you guys for the likes and the follows. And if you don't have any questions for me, I'm going to hop off. I try to go live at least 3 times a week. If you were looking for more support and help like this live here, I do have a YouTube. It is linked in my bio. That YouTube has all of my past lives on it and plenty of free content for you to get started. I have a couple cook with me's, my plant-based mastery, as well as my Purge the Poison playlist is all on YouTube. But oh, and also, if you're not on my email list, because I forgot to say this, I send out a Wellness Wednesday email every single week, so you can go check that out. But I'm not seeing any questions from you guys, so I appreciate you. I hope that I have supported you and helped you be able to get into that mental space on this Monday and understand exactly how to make those connections of what is going on in your health and how you rebuild that rhythm for yourself. I will see you guys later this week. Like I said, I try to go live at least 3 times a week. This was the first live for the week. So if you're on my email list, you'll know. And if not, check out my story and make sure you're keeping up with my page to make sure that you don't miss another live. Hope you guys have a great rest of y'all's day. Happy Monday. Peace.